Thank you, Tammy Sue Bakker, and welcome everyone to our show today.
Hi there.
We're so thrilled to have Dr. Don Colbert and his wife Mary on the show today.
Woo, we are so excited.
And this is probably one of the great revolutions.
What we're about to
the gut zone revolution.
You better believe it.
And you've been on it now for a few days,
for a couple weeks now, and it's changing my life. Yes, literally. Thank you, Dr. Colbert.
Praise God.
Oh, my
Exciting.
goodness. But Dr. Colbert, I have read this book inside and out. I have learned so much. I keep continuing to go back to it and learning more. But he explained everything and all the reasons why my stomach was extending out more and more. It wasn't good.
Yes. Well, again, you have the symptoms of a patient with SIBO or SIFO. And again, SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or you could have them both. A lot of people have both of these.
I think I have both.
Small intestinal fungal overgrowth, which many people used to call just candida or yeast overgrowth. In fact, about 20 years ago, I wrote a book called The Bible Cure for Candida, and because I would see so many patients that would come from all over the U.S. with all these unexplained symptoms, but especially abdominal bloating. They'd gone to GI doc after GI doc, and I'd put them on what I call the Candida Diet with a few simple herbs or meds that would kill Candida and lots of probiotics. That was 20 years ago, and we helped so many people, but now we know that is called either SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth, with the majority of those fungus being candida or yeast. But again, the symptoms are so common, and it may be you, if you're a woman or a man. I see this in men too, when you have to depend on Spanx or girdles. And then then the Spanx and girdles cause acid reflux, a lot of people. But what happens after eating a meal within usually a few minutes to 30 minutes to an hour, all of a sudden it looks like someone's hooked you up to an air hose. And it looks like you can swell up to like you have twins or triplets. Or you have a lot of belching.
No, I seriously have had that. I've taken pictures of myself. I'm not showing you. You're not getting those pictures.
Please show a picture.
No, but I'm not kidding, where I look like I'm 9 months pregnant. And this has been going on for several years.
We
and so
believe
to have
this,
the answers.
Right.
This is one of what we call the now books. This is a book that is written that's for now.
It is.
And it's for Lori.
It's for everybody.
Also for me.
Yeah, honey.
And,
we've been doing the gut
ever since I had my stroke, I've had gut pain. I've been sick to my stomach for a year. That's not fun.
It's not.
And I'm just starting with this plan.
It's so exciting.
I'm before God. I'm just starting to be pain-free from my gut.
Praise God.
Yes.
I don't know what in the world.
It's
the
we'll
combo.
talk about it.
It's the combo.
Lori makes sure I get all my products that I'm supposed to take, and especially this one right here.
The
Fiber Zone.
I got him.
The Fiber
Zone. I couldn't live without this, everybody. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Doc, I can't live without it.
Everybody needs.
Well, Mary, same way.
Me either. Every night.
Mary's got her story because she never had gut issues until about 3 months ago when she had to take antibiotics for strep throat. And I begged her, please, Mary, don't take the antibiotics. No, I'm sick. I feel horrible.
Well, hold on just a minute. It was extremely painful. I have never had strep throat. And I don't like pain. I hate pain. I do. I have the lowest pain tolerance of anybody you've ever met.
It's amazing.
And I was like, Don, I said, Don, we had just come from North Carolina and been in cold, went to heat, been on, everything you can imagine. And I mean, it was like somebody had pliers in my throat, and I was like, Don, you don't understand, this really, really hurts. So I said, no, give me the guns, Don. I want this pain to go. And so he did, and after 2 pills, only took 2, and literally within a couple of hours, I had welts all over my body that swelled up, on fire and itching. I mean, I was on fire. I thought someone had taken a torch and were trying to burn my arms and my legs.
Now, it was a few things going on here. Allergic reaction to penicillin is one. But then this continued and continued, and when she'd eat certain foods, high histamine foods, the whelps and the hives would return. So again, we had two things. We had damage to her gut from the antibiotics. She developed a condition called leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability. She had killed off most of her good bacteria, bad bacteria had taken over, and a little critter called fungus or yeast started overgrowing. So I said, Mary, let's just start you on the gut zone diet.
Yes.
Let's just start you on
how many people really need this?
Everybody in America needs to read this book.
Yes,
true.
I believe it.
I do too, because see, through the pandemic, let's be real.
Yeah.
Because this is what happened to me. I mean, it's been tough on everybody. And the feel good, the feel good. I started becoming a sugarholic.
Oh, yes.
So I got addicted to sugar.
Plus, her younger sister died during the pandemic.
I lost my sister, couldn't have a funeral.
No.
Right.
And she was the closest person next to Dawn on the earth to me, was my sister.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was suddenly. And it came out of the nowhere. It wasn't COVID. She didn't have that.
Right.
But that threw me for a loop because it caught me off guard. Because usually if I have time to pray something through and stand in the gap.
It really did catch you off
Sugar
guard.
is really hurting us.
Oh, my goodness.
It's killing us.
Well, it feeds the bad bacteria.
Yeah.
And already the bad bacteria have an upper hand in most of our bodies because we've consumed so many rounds of antibiotics in our life. And
I'm still trying to get well, and I crave sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you why. I crave sweet things.
And can I tell you why?
Why?
Well, it's a few things. Number
this is
one,
what happened to me.
Because of the serotonin. When you eat sugar, your serotonin, your feel-good hormone goes up. But the other thing that we're finding, it's our microbiome of our gut where the good bacteria and the bad bacteria live. It's over 100 trillion bacteria that live in our guts, 100 trillion. And there are two primary phyla or families of bacteria. There's the firmicutes that cause us to gain weight, and you literally extract more calories out of your food when you have a predominance of firmicutes in your gut. And then there's the bacteroidetes, which literally are associated with leanness and health. And you start to maintain a more healthy weight when you have a predominance of bacteroidetes. Now, it just so happens that when you have too many firmicute bacteria in your gut, which are more the bad bacteria, you crave more sugars, carbs, and starches. And they've actually done twin studies back in 2013. They had human twins. One was obese, one was slender. And they took some of the fecal matter out, some of their feces out, and they put it into mice that were normal weighted mice. And the mice that received the fecal material from the obese twin became obese. And the ones that received the fecal material from the slender twin stayed thin.
Now, they injected it into
their colon.
The colon.
Yeah.
They weren't feeding it to
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what happened is when they analyzed the mouse fecal material, they found a predominance of firmicutes in the obese mice and a predominance of bacteroides in the slender mice. Wow. So what they say is that they can predict now with about 80 to 90% accuracy based on your good bacteria in your gut whether you'll have an obese problem in your life because of these bad bacteria.
Now, what happened to me after Don put me on this strict antihistamine, goes, Mary,
low histamine.
You don't understand. You cannot let one bit of sugar come into your body or you're going to whelp. You're going to have any kind of whelp. And sure enough, I could have something that had sugar in it and I didn't know it had sugar in it. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night with welts.
On fire. She'd be on fire.
I'd be dreaming that someone was setting me on fire, and I'd wake up and these welts were going. And then we'd go back and look, and sure enough, there'd be some sugar in there hidden. So when I restricted it for 6 weeks, 6 weeks, no sugar. I mean, I got so strict, not one little bit of sugar in my body.
And can I tell you something?
The strangest thing happened.
Yes, that's true. 2 weeks.
I hate sugar now.
Yeah. Right. That's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how I have such a
It is the enemy. It really is the enemy, isn't it?
It is.
Right. But here's what happened. Let me kind of explain it to you. What happened was
dead in me now.
was number one, the sugar was feeding the bad bacteria. It was feeding the firmicutes. We shifted her gut bacteria over from firmicute predominance over to bacteroidetes, and it's amazing how her cravings decreased significantly. But also, Mary was craving tomatoes, a high histamine food. Now, again, for most people, they can have some tomatoes and won't hurt them, but also she ate a little hummus. Well, hummus is healthy for a lot of people, but hummus is a high histamine food. It set her on fire. And the big thing, she was putting some chocolate, MCT oil, in her coffee, and chocolate is a high histamine food. So that's why we had to come up with a list for those people that rarely have high histamine. We literally have to bring those high histamine foods down, heal the gut, and many times kill the yeast, and and put them on the gut zone diet, of course, and their body's able to heal. But most important is cutting out the sugar. But now Mary's not craving sugar. She says the most amazing thing happened. She says, my sugar craving shifted. I no longer crave sugar, but I crave healthy foods. Now, what's interesting is that's exactly what happens. And as a result, she's lost about 20 pounds.
I know. And it's going down more and more. You know, even when I eat oatmeal, they'll bring brown sugar out, and I'll be like, get that away from me. Oh, and I'll use the sugar-free maple syrup on my oatmeal. And it gives
nuts,
it the maple,
and some strawberries,
flavor. And I'm like, things are just too sweet for me now.
I know most of you know Dr. Don Colbert. All the doctors know you, Dr. Don.
Oh, really?
I'm going to a specialist for my for my sugar diabetes.
Right, that's right.
Endocrinologist.
That's
correct.
right. And he knew you.
Praise God. He says, I've read his books.
Praise God.
And so Dr. Don has written over 50 books. That's a lot of books. He has bestsellers as well. So he's literally sold millions of books, and he is a board-certified family practice practitioner.
Well, I was for 25 years, but I'll let that go.
For more than 25 years.
There you go.
I was about to say that, but that was what you did for 25 years.
I shifted.
And he's a board-certified anti-aging.
Yes,
You're
that's what
still
I do
that,
now.
right?
Well, I do age management medicine now. I help manage
people
aging.
like me.
Yes, like you.
81-year-old. I'm 81 now, doctor. You know,
80 years young.
That's right.
Amen. You're just barely in middle-aged life, according to Moses.
And so that's why we love having you on the show. We got to have you on more because our audience is growing older too.
Amen.
And they need to know what to do.
Yes.
And so it was through the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and Dr. Don is the author of many New York Times bestsellers, but he's written over 50 books, including The 7 Pillars of Health, along with the bestsellers Toxic Relief, The Bible Cure, Serious Living in Divine Health, and Stress Less. The new book, which if you don't get any other book this month,
that's right,
you've got to order the Healthy Gut book. The new book is called Dr. Colbert's Healthy Gut Zone. This is something that you want to have in your home and for your family, and to be able to share with your friends. Lori's sharing it with everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
Lori must be your representative.
I'm so glad I should be your representative because it's changing my life. It's helping me.
Amen.
Something I've struggled with for many years, and I never really understood it all. I understood bits and pieces of it.
What are some of the things that the gut zone deals with? What's some of the problems? On the back of the book, I see acid reflux and other things.
Right.
Could you give us a list maybe?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I talk about all the key major gut issues that people suffer, which one of the most common is acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion. So many people say, I have acid reflux, and I take a acid blocking med, not realizing acid blocking meds cause so much harm long-term to the gut, because acid is our first line of defense against bacteria and parasites in our bodies. And what happens when you suppress that stomach acid, bacteria start overgrowing, and then people start to get SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
That's what I have.
Like you've been hooked up to an air hose.
Yes.
And so so that's just acid. That's just one disease. But acid reflux is not an acid problem. It's a valve problem. A little muscle connects your lower esophageal sphincter to your stomach, and it's called the lower esophageal sphincter. It's a little muscle that opens and closes like that. And I tell you the foods that causes it to relax and open up, such as the worst. You'll know the 4 worst foods for that. coffee or caffeine, chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the more it opens up, as well as alcohol, as well as peppermint and spearmint. Your toothpaste, when you're brushing with peppermint or spearmint, especially when you swallow it, guess what? It's opening up that sphincter.
Yeah.
When you're chewing peppermint or spearmint gum, it's opening it up. When you're sipping peppermint tea, it's opening it up.
Wow.
But there's other things, and I go in detail how to overcome it. But one of the biggest things that's causing it is shapewear. Girdles, Spanx. We have a Spanx revolution in this country. And women are double spanking themselves because they want that little teeny waist.
I used to say, you know, I don't do a whole lot of exercise. Mine is putting on my Spanx and taking them off.
We had a patient that wore some, went shopping for Spanx. She would put those Spanx on, barely got in them, but she couldn't get out of them, guys.
Oh, no,
she
they
could
are hard
not
to get
get out of her Spanx, and literally she had to wear them home because she had to pay for them because she couldn't get out of them. Then when she got home, it took her hours to get out. She was. But she was refluxing like crazy, and I said, you got to get rid of Spanx. But again, I go in detail. I talk about other diseases. I talk about irritable bowel syndrome, which many times irritable bowel is just that bloating, swelling, abdominal pain, mucus in the stools, diarrhea, constipation, which is many times associated with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIFO. I talk about Crohn's, colitis. I talk about inflammatory bowel disease. I talk about celiac disease.
Autoimmune
disease, autism, ADHD, Alzheimer's. At the root of most Alzheimer's is gut issues. And what is so amazing is the new research, guys, that people do not know this. Your doctors don't know this, or 99% don't know this. Now you say, before I was talking about keto zone and how important it is to stay in the keto zone or low carb. Well, that's true, but we're finding that excessive amounts of saturated fats, which are butter, cheese, cream, coconut oil, which is so brain healthy, as well as fatty meats, fried foods. These are high in saturated fats. Now, what happens, they can actually inflame the body, the gut, the body, and the brain. Alzheimer's patients, now this is the key. This little bacteria live in our gut. Like I say, 100 trillion bacteria live in our gut.
We have the good bacteria
and the bad,
right?
Yes. Okay. Now, we all have gram-negative bacteria in our guts. The gram-negative bacteria have a cell membrane composed of lipopolysaccharides. And I go in detail in the book about this because you're not going to know this, or your doctors won't know it, or the majority. Now, the lipopolysaccharides are little pieces of the cell membrane that's been broken down by the body. Now, what happens, they ride and they hide in saturated fats, and when people develop what we call a leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability, and I'll tell you how the majority of people develop it, the majority of patients I see have it, patients. And because what happens with impaired intestinal permeability, you have a brush border in your small intestines, and they're like the cells are like little finger-like projections, and they're lined up like this with tight junctions between them. When you develop leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability, these tight junctions open up. And then what happens, partially digested foods, proteins, peptides, fatty acids, larger sugars, toxins, bacteria, microbes, fungus, yeast, whatever, start to go inside there into our bloodstream. They literally, just like picture a coffee filter, and then picture taking that coffee filter and getting an ice pick and poking holes through it. Well, that's similar to what's happening to your gut. But what happens, saturated fats, again, these LPSs or lipopolysaccharides hide in those saturated fats, and they ride through there, and they go into our bloodstream. They inflame our gut. They inflame our body, and they go through the blood-brain barrier into our brain, and they start the brain inflammation associated with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. And they say that Alzheimer's patients have 3 times more lipopolysaccharides in their brains than normal people.
Wow.
So again, this is something that literally is highly damaging to your gut, but you know how to heal it? It's real easy. I teach you how to heal it and how this helps protect the brain from Alzheimer's, how to heal the gut and protect the brain. It's that simple with probiotics, fiber, our collagen, but most importantly, the gut zone diet.
Yes.
You talk about how the gut relates to the brain.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is just so overwhelming.
Well, and when the gut's inflamed, when you have an inflamed gut, you're going to eventually develop an inflamed brain. And Alzheimer's is simply inflammation in the brain that's run amok. And it starts to damage and destroy those neurons.
Wow.
So we have to protect our brains by, first of all, protecting our gut. It's, again, our first line of defense. In protecting the brain, there is a huge gut-brain connection. And it's usually through the vagus nerve. Cranial nerve number 10, that vagus nerve. Over 100 million neurons that connect the gut to the brain.
Is that why they say the gut is the second brain?
Absolutely.
And that the gut has...
Yes.
Do you say in your book, you tell us that it's 75% of the immune system?
Yes, it's located in the gut.
Is in the gut?
Yes.
You've got to order the book right now. The show's going to be gone.
Yes.
And you've got to order the book. We want to get it out. They're in stock right now. The brand new book, The Healthy Gut Zone. One of Dr. Colbert's great new books, brand new book.
I think this is your best buy. Yeah, and we are so excited to have this book. You can receive one book. Everybody needs to order at least one book right now. You can receive one book of Dr. Colbert's Healthy Gut Zone book, including shipping and handling for $25 donation to the ministry, and we have so many other offers as well, but at least get this. I recommend always getting, I call it the friends and family offer, the 3 Dr. Colbert's Healthy Gut Zone books for $60, which includes shipping and handling, or we have the Baker's Dozen, and there are so many people that you could give this out to. That's 13 for $250 donation to the ministry. Of course, that includes shipping and handling as well. So call us right now at 1-888-988-1588 and get your book and books and give them out to the people you know and love. Everybody, I could probably say almost everybody is suffering from something.
You know, Lori, Don is a researcher. This is what I want people to hear me. Because some of you may be sitting there and you go, well, he said this and now he says that.
Right.
Medicine is constantly changing.
Exactly.
And what he's doing is he's trying to stay ahead of the curve to bring you the most current and accurate information.
It's so
because
good.
it is changing.
It is.
It is changing. So that's why sometimes one thing that comes to my mind is in the book, he talks about white rice.
Yeah.
He'd prefer you to eat white rice.
Because of lectins. And I go in detail.
And he goes into details as to why that has shifted. Where before, years ago, you used to say brown rice.
Yeah.
And so
the whiter the bread, the thinner your dead.
It's not true anymore.
Well, it's not true anymore. The rules have changed.
It's amazing that the science
In fact, on this diet, we eat a bread that you recommend.
Right.
Millet.
Yeah, millet. Exactly.
Bread.
That's gut friendly.
And
sure.
it's so exciting to have a bread that's not killing me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I make little sandwiches out of it, you know, and
good.
And we make French toast.
Right, sure. That's healthy.
So
egg,
good.
you know.
Right, sure. That's good for you.
And so I have healthy French toast.
Isn't that great?
Well, what Dr. Colbert has done
love it.
is in the back of the book, there's some recipes in here. There's a 7-day meal plan, and we have literally been using this for the past few weeks and living on it. And all I can say is it works. Yeah, within 24 hours, I noticed the difference, which was shocking to me.
There's people that are desperate.
Yeah,
I mean, desperate in their health.
Yeah.
And do you really believe that people can turn their health around?
Absolutely, I know so, and I know that that Dr. Colbert. I know he's a researcher. I know that he's searches everywhere to find the truth. And when he writes in this book, everything, I mean, every word I want to highlight, every single word, with my marker. It's just because it's taught me so much, and the reasons why my gut was so messed up and how it's healing so quickly. That's what is kind of astonishing, how quick.
Right. And this is new information. This is not in any of my other books. Now, this is a standalone book because this program, and one of the most amazing things is the appetite control. So many of my patients say, I have finally, after 20, 30, 40 years, gained control of my appetite.
I'm experiencing that.
And they say my tastes have shifted. They say my tastes have shifted, and I'm no longer craving all the sugars, carbs, and starches.
Wow.
And the weight, it's amazing how many people have testimonies of how their belly fat, how the belly fat starts to go in.
It's starting. It is. That's what's happening.
But especially, it's that shift you're making.
Yeah.
Now, I want to read this. This comes from my book. It says that as far as the gut bacteria, it can change the properties of taste receptors so that particular flavors are more satisfying to our palates. In other words, the bad bacteria in your gut could be making you want to eat the very foods you should not be eating. This is what I find all the time. And so literally when they shift this, when you eat these foods, now again, you say, what's in this diet? What is it? Well, again, it's a low carb, no sugar, low starch, but also we put in healthy starches, like sweet potatoes. Not a huge sweet potato,
no, just a little bit,
but just a small sweet potato. Or we use taro root, or we use cassava, which is yuck. And you say, I've never heard of these foods. These are healthy, gut healthy starches. And what happens? These starches break down and they feed the good bacteria. They're feeding, and we're planting more good bacteria. We're fueling them. So they're literally taking over your gut, and you're making that shift from predominant firmicutes, which cause you to extract more calories out of your food, to bacteroides, which are associated usually with weight loss.
And some of the products that we have, I want you to know that this is like one of the most important products that we're going to include in the package together.
Yes.
Folks, listen to me. This is so crucial. This is critical in putting in the right bacteria. Now, there's a lot of people that have a lot of products out there about probiotics. Nobody has what we have in here.
This is fabulous.
None. You cannot find it anywhere. So you won't get the same results.
Right.
If you go and compromise and say, well, I'm going to go get my own probiotics at the grocery store or at the health food store, you will not maybe get the same results because of the kind of probiotics that this is. This has been tested. This has been double-blind placebo tested, and there's nothing out there on the market that can come close to this.
No, it's fabulous.
Probiotic. It's incredible.
We both take this every single day.
It's critical.
I don't want to live without my Beyond Biotics.
Yes.
And I don't. I mean, I make sure I have it ordered all the time and
you
ready
take
to
that
go.
what's the big deal? The deal. We have a
yes, we got the
Dr. Don Gut Healthy.
Well, we have a few packages where you can, take advantage of these offers. First of all, we have the book by itself, or you can go with the Healthy Gut Zone Detox offer, which is an $85 offer, and that includes shipping and handling, which includes one of the Beyond Biotics Ultra Blend Probiotic, one of Dr. Colbert's 21-day detox book. It's a little booklet. And another thing I can't live without, will never want to live without this, is the Fiber Zone. It is incredible.
Let me talk about that one second.
Oh, yes.
Would you call Fiber Zone America?
I call it America.
Can I tell you, for years, I was recommending psyllium husk powder to my patients.
Yes.
And so many of my patients, especially women, and my wife says, I cannot stand this. It tastes like tree bark and water. And it nauseated her. And so finally, after working with a food scientist and putting together insoluble, soluble fibers, along with prebiotics, including inulin, we came out with a product that is great tasting.
Oh, it's now, natural berry flavor.
It is absolutely.
So good.
It passes Mary's taste test. I'll let her comment on that.
I'm telling you, it is wonderful. Every single night of my life, every morning I do one thing, and that is I do the MCT. I never go a day without my MCT, ever.
No.
And I do this fiber every single night. Of course, I do the probiotics every morning. Now, the best thing I want you to know is when you do the fiber, and this is really important that you need to know this.
Yes.
Don't take the fiber if you're taking other supplements at the same time or medicine.
Yes.
You don't do that.
It'll bind it.
It'll bind it, and then it makes it ineffective. The medicine or the, the supplements that you're taking, it'll bind it up, and then it pushes it out. So what I do is I wait toward the end of the evening. I'm done. I've had my supplements.
Because I take mine
I take mine
after
in the morning.
breakfast. I don't eat it with my about a half hour after my breakfast is when I take
As long as you're not taking your meds with it or supplements with it.
Right. If you do, then it's going to interfere
Take it
with absorption.
far away from your meds.
Right, at least
Far
30
away.
minutes away.
At least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's working for me.
Oh,
though.
It is.
Well,
Absolutely.
that'll work. Whatever works
Yes.
for. But for me, I do it at night, and in the morning it's ha ha.
But I do it twice a day. I swear by it twice a day.
Yes.
And let me
Cleans
tell you,
me out.
a
For
major-
people that are constipated, and pain in the gut, and all, this is one of the big relievers.
Right, but start out.
This is amazing.
Start out low and go slow. I tell people.
Yeah.
Instead of a full scoop, start out with a half a scoop. Some people get bloating, and so we got to get their gut healthy before they can go to the full dose. But a major thing on how to take it, please, whatever you do. When you mix it up, do not use lukewarm water. Use cold water. I put about 6 to 8 ounces of cold water in. I stir it up, but I do not set it down and come
have
back
to
and drink it.
immediately drink it.
Yes. If you set it down and come back, it's going to form like an oatmeal consistency.
does.
Or pancake batter.
Yeah.
So you got to drink it right
Right,
away.
yeah.
Mix it with cold water and down it quick.
It is
and
so
it is
good.
I learned that
amazing.
the hard way.
And it makes the stomach feel so
But
good.
I drink the whole thing right away.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
same
mix
here.
it up. And,
That's what you do.
And I love it when it's cold and everything like that. So I just drink it right down.
It's
My
so
body
good.
just
We
accepts
should have
it.
some right
and
now.
I'll tell you what.
Feels good.
Oh my Lord, what
Does.
it does for you.
Oh, it's a phenomenal. Okay, so you're receiving this offer because we have
Yes.
several offers. So you can take advantage of this offer for $85 donation to the ministry. You'll receive again the one Beyond Biotics, as you can see on the screen, one Fiber Zone, one of Dr. Colbert's brand new books, The Healthy Gut Zone, and the 21-day Detox little pamphlet booklet. And it is excellent. All of that right there, and that includes shipping and handling.
One of my favorite things about this 21-day detox, it gives you the shopping list that you can go to the grocery store.
Yes.
That is one of the biggest keys people have a hard time doing is, where do I start? Well,
Right.
guess what? Dr. Don helps you start by getting
really
your
does.
shopping list ready. That's where you begin. And I want to tell you something. We have a complete Healthy Gut Zone Detox Starter Kit that is going to be the greatest investment that you
one.
can ever make
I
in
would go
your
with
life
that.
right now.
Go with that
And I
one.
want to tell you something. My wife and I read the book, and we started highlighting the book and highlighting where do we begin? How do we start this? And within a week, I seen the results firsthand on my life and my wife. She deals with autoimmune disease, lupus and
does.
Sjogren's. And then I had to deal with a surgery. And I remember talking to the two of you in the green room on Gray Street about my gallbladder. And my gallbladder was being, what you call a leaky gut. But that acid was literally killing my liver and killing me inside for decades. I had stomach pains.
He always complained about his stomach pains, and I knew that Beth was struggling with this autoimmune. When I read in here,
best for
this is the
autoimmune.
best thing for autoimmune.
This is amazing, Lori, how many patients we have had with autoimmune diseases that are now in remission.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. Now, again, I can't say that we can fix every
Right.
autoimmune
No,
disease.
no.
But I'm just telling you, we have testimonies of many autoimmune diseases totally now in remission with the Healthy Gut Zone.
Yeah, and I also love in this book, Donna, how you were very vulnerable because you shared your own story.
My goodness.
Your own
Have I been through it?
of psoriasis, your own story of your gut,
Right. Well, let me
problems.
just explain that to people if I could have a few minutes just to do this.
Yes.
Back around 1990, I awakened one morning and I was covered with the worst rash, red, itchy, scaly on the backs of my hands, on my elbows, on my knees, and on my thighs.
Looked like leprosy.
And it looked horrible. And I was saying, what on earth happened? So then I went to my dermatologist buddy, and I'll never forget him. He was a good buddy of mine who worked out with me at the gym. And he shook his head. He had his glasses down on his nose. And he looked up at me, and he said, shook his head, says, Don, I'm sorry to tell you that you have and he emphasized the word heartbreak of psoriasis. And I said, wait, that's impossible. No one in my family has psoriasis. But he says, sorry, you got it. And he whipped out his script and he wrote me out, I'll never forget, coal tar with Aqua Aqua that I put on my skin. It smelled horrible. It was a long story. It stained everything orange. I stunk wherever I went. And finally, I had a that's it moment.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. I'm going to clear this thing up. And so I started researching. God put in me literally an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and I knew when I fasted, all the itching went away and my skin started clearing up. But then when I started eating foods, that came back. I noticed when I was in the sunlight, it would clear up. I noticed when I was in the sunlight, it would flare up. And then I noticed that stress, anytime I was real stressed, it'd really flare up. So the Lord had me literally searching, and finally I did a special food sensitivity test. Now, a lot of people have food sensitivities. When you have a leaky gut, you're going to have food sensitivities.
Yeah.
And I checked my food, and there's food allergies that are different. Your doctors generally only test for food allergies. But back then, we're talking about almost 30 years ago, I took a food sensitivity test, and I was highly sensitive to the very foods I was eating daily, but usually at every meal. And especially was I sensitive to gluten, which is mainly in wheat, barley, and rye. Well, I ate wheat at every meal because wheat was healthy. And I also ate tomatoes and peppers, two other foods I was highly sensitive to.
Salsa.
Every day at lunch, I would
eat nightshades, right?
Yes, I would eat grilled chicken, and I'd get a huge bowl of salsa. And at the end, I love salsa so much, I'd take the bowl and drink it, anything left over. And I was wondering why I was on fire. Well, what I did was real simple. I simply started. This is how I literally learned the gut zone. This is how all this came, because this is back in 1990, and no one was talking about any of this.
No.
I started taking probiotics, but not just a few, as many as I get my hands on. I also started avoiding all the foods my body reacted to, and the strangest thing happened, guys. Within 3 months, psoriasis was gone.
Amazing.
Wow.
But what happened, I had to go back and think, what had I done before then that started this whole mess? Well, it started because when I was in practice, I started practice in 1987, and I was on call every night. And at first, no problem. I didn't have hardly any patients. But
Well, really, it goes back to when you were in residency, because you were pulling 24-hour shifts,
36-hour shifts,
up all
every 4
night,
nights,
doing call and codes and everything.
Right, huge
and that's
hospital.
really where it started,
Right,
I think.
it's true.
Because
But
of the
then
stress.
what happened? I didn't have time to be sick, so no problem. I had all these samples, and back then I don't have these anymore. I had sample cabinets full of meds and antibiotics. I rarely use meds anymore. But I had antibiotics, so I'd grab some meds out. I took would Augmentin or Z-Pack. I'd take it for a week or 10 days, and boom, I didn't stop working. But I didn't listen to my body. But what it did, it wreaked havoc on my gut.
Yeah.
And a lot of you, the very meds you're taking every day is wreaking havoc on your gut. And I talk about the 3 key meds.
Yeah.
And these are the main one are antibiotics.
Yeah.
They decimate your microbiome, where 75% of your immune system is. And they wreak havoc on your gut, and they trigger leaky gut and dysbiosis, which is overgrowth of bad bacteria, not enough good bacteria.
So now, Don, to clarify, because I don't want people going nuts here, and they will.
Antibiotics are important.
We're in a pandemic, and some people are having to take Z-Pack, stuff like that.
I understand. That's
so we're not anti-antibiotics.
But for me, I overused them. Because every 3 months I would get a sinus infection, and no problem. I didn't stop working. I didn't change my diet. I didn't cut out the dairy that fuels every sinus infection usually. But I got an antibiotic. That's like using a bazooka in warfare, against instead of a pistol, okay? And I didn't need to. I wreaked havoc on my gut. But 2 other meds that do it that so many people take. Number 2 are NSAID, anti-inflammatory, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory meds. All of these meds literally inflame the gut, create many times microscopic ulcers, sometimes regular ulcers, create leaky gut, severe leaky gut, and wreak havoc on your gut. And the third one are your acid blocking meds. And they can be the little purple pill, all the acid blocking meds. They can wreak havoc because your first line of defense is always that stomach acid. In fact, so many people over 60 have low acid, and that's why they're not absorbing their amino acids and their proteins, and why they have sarcopenia, muscle loss. Most every patient I have over 60, I always put them on digestive enzymes, and I usually will put them on hydrochloric acid, but so many doctors are turning off the hydrochloric acid. You need hydrochloric acid to absorb calcium and magnesium and B12, but most important, to absorb the amino acids so that you can build muscle. So that's why frailty
I hope
is so
people
common.
are recording this show because you're going to want to go back and listen to it and listen to it
But
and listen to it.
I will say it's in this book.
It is. It's all in there.
Okay.
Don has it all in this book, the doctor does, and I will tell you
Most
that.
complete book on the gut you probably ever find.
Absolutely. And I just want to
At
make...
least Lori has just become
It's
glued
changed-
to this book.
well,
and
it's changing my
changed
life.
Your health.
Yeah.
It's changed your life.
Listen,
And
when you
we,
have these... When you have...
if we don't take it, we don't ask you.
No, I would never. But this is what you say. Most chronic diseases actually begin in the gut. I'm reading from the book. And then you said, have you ever experienced any of the following symptoms? So I'm going to ask you, have you experienced any of these following symptoms? Heartburn, arthritis, bloating and gas, brain fog, constant fatigue, depression and anxiety, joint aches, loose stools, indigestion, weight gain and obesity. If you've ever experienced any of these, you probably have a gut problem and you need this.
75% of our total immune cells are found in our gut.
Yeah.
And this is what Doc says in his book.
He explains it. He explains it so thoroughly.
And we have a complete healthy gut.
We do.
zone
And I want to talk about
Detox
this.
Starter Kit.
Yeah.
So,
Mary, I want to
people are
talk
going to get
about
mixed
this.
up because we have about 3 different deals today.
Okay, well, let's go with this. Is the one I...
Depends on how desperate you are.
Well, you know what? I was desperate, and this is what I do. This is what I do every single day. Mary, I know you do
This
it.
is
I know
mine.
Don does it.
This is mine.
And first of all, let's talk about this, the collagen.
Okay.
Now, there's not any collagen. Now, this is important. I know you get tired of this and you think this is just a sales pitch. It is not. I am not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. You cannot get this collagen anywhere in the world but from here.
Yeah.
This is it. You cannot
Excellent.
get... Don formulated this collagen. I am so excited about it. Now, Don, you explain to them why this collagen, what's in it, that they can't get in any other collagen.
But this contains both hydrolyzed chicken collagen, so it's broken down into its individual amino acids, the proline, the hydroxyproline, the glycine, and it has marine collagen in it. And it's been broken down in such a way that it mixes so well with water. You put this in a shaker cup.
It's amazing.
And it shakes up within 10 seconds.
It does.
And it is, the big thing is it's delicious.
Now,
Those
we improved it because there was initially some probiotics in it.
My son put probiotics without telling me.
And Don said, no, wait. You're not allowed to do anything without his approval. And it did mess up the shaking. In other words, it wouldn't dissolve well.
But it does.
It doesn't anymore.
Yes. No, this is excellent. I take it every single day.
I
Wouldn't live without my
product
collagen.
of this complete healthy gut zone.
Yes.
But let me tell you what it
Detox
does.
Starter Kit. And so it has all these items you see on the screen. Now, I'm going to leave them on the screen for a minute. Doc, you tell us what they are.
Well, the hydrolyzed collagen was one of the key things my wife used to heal her gut because this collagen literally helps to soothe and heal the leaky gut. And it's so healing for a gut, but it also supports healthy skin, hair, nails, healthy muscles, and healthy joints.
Yeah.
So it's so important. But the thing I love about the collagen so much is taking it at night when you go to bed, you've got that raw materials that helps to heal the gut amazingly. Especially this was key for my wife. This, again, and the fiber zone and the probiotic along with her diet. These simple things worked amazing.
Yeah.
And so she said that literally when she would have those terrible hives or urticaria and she'd be on fire and it'd wake her up sometime middle of the night. But when she started taking the collagen, you tell Mary what happened.
Well, no, the collagen, what it did, it soothed me immediately. But then I would do the fiber at night, and this fiber.
The fiber, that's in this deal now.
This is in the deal, the fiber that's there. The fiber is one of those things that's going to be like, you're going to do this for the rest of your life.
Yes.
I mean, you're just going to do that.
Yeah.
You are.
There is too.
And what else comes?
And then the probiotics. This probiotics, you cannot get the probiotics combination of what Don has in this product anywhere in the world.
Okay.
This is it. So if you compromise, you
Now,
won't
these are all Dr. Don's
formulations.
formulations.
Yes.
Okay, we haven't finished.
These are not something that you get at the store. You just can't get them.
No.
Okay, So you get the collagen.
And you're getting a deal we can't give at our office, too.
Wow.
So don't call our office
Right.
saying, I want
Right.
that package,
Nope.
because we're not going to do that.
We can't do that.
I can't
good of a
afford
deal.
to do
we
that.
Can't. No, we got
Many of you
staff to
We
pay.
do this to help the ministry.
Right.
Yeah.
Do this, please, to help support this ministry.
Now, let me just, you've been seeing it back and forth. You've been seeing some chocolate collagen on the screen, and you've also been seeing the French vanilla. So what you can do when you call, you can request whether if you would like the chocolate or if you would like the vanilla. Is that right, everybody?
That is correct.
And then let's move on to the MCT oil. Mary, I heard you talk about it earlier. We don't live without this either.
Yes, and I got to tell you something about this,
Lori
too.
uses it daily.
Every day in my
Right.
coffee.
I
Well,
do too.
you heard me talking earlier about lipopolysaccharide or LPS and how damaging that is to the gut, and how when the gut has leaky or increased intestinal permeability, how literally that LPS rides on the back of saturated fats and inflames our bodies. Well, it just so happens the MCT oil, it doesn't. This is a very healthy fat that charges our brains, that increases mental focus, that helps to put us in the keto zone, that also helps our guts. So again, it's real healthy, and you're not feeding your bad bacteria when you're taking the MCT oil powder, because again, the bad bacteria love sugar, sugar, sugar. They love excessive carbs, excessive starches. But so the MCT oil powder is really good. I got to just tell you this too, because Lori had SIBO,
Yes.
small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, as well as SIFO.
Yes.
And again, this is so common. I see this so much, and doctors many times never treat it, or they don't treat it correctly. They just call it IBS and say, sorry, just take
Right.
these antispasmodics, take a little, medicine for your nerves, and that's it. But again, these symptoms are belching, abdominal pain. The biggest is bloating and
Yeah.
excessive gas. It's
hate
like these
bloating.
people after a meal, it's like, especially a meal with lots of sugars, carbs, and starches, it's like they've been hooked up to an air hose.
It's true.
And their bellies literally swell out. I have had patients say, listen, you don't understand. I have gained 10 inches
Yeah.
around my waist within 30 minutes to an hour of eating.
It's
and they
true.
say, it's great. They say, how can I eat
Me
a little
too.
potato?
Me too.
And my belly gains, 6 to 10 inches within 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh.
I said, I know why. You got SIBO or SIFO. So listen to the symptoms.
Yep, here it
Abdominal
is.
pain, belching, bloating, excessive gas per rectum, being inflated like with an air hose, constipation, brain fog, cramping, craving for carbs and starches and sugars, depression, diarrhea, constipation. Constipation makes it worse, and fatigue, headaches, and food sensitivity. But what I tell patients is the gut zone products along with the gut zone diet. Now, there's another little caveat, because sometimes with SIBO, I'll use a little silver biotic liquid. And we'll give them a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons in the morning when they wake up, and 1 or 2 tablespoons in the evening when they go to bed. Empty stomach, I say, feed your SIBO first, kill those bad bacteria and that yeast, and then you do that for only about 6 weeks, and boom, all of a sudden, you have control over SIBO.
Don, you have just described everybody who's watching TV.
That's right. Everybody is watching this.
I mean, if people were honest, they'd
If
say,
they're
"That's
honest,
me."
I went through and I checked. And
Yes.
I was like, well, I hit every single one of these symptoms.
Right.
And so this is what
Just,
I have. And I have to conquer this now. And I have the tools. The great thing is we have the tools. We have the collagen. We have the MCT oil. We powder. We have the fiber and the Beyond Biotics. We have the book where Dr. Colbert teaches us literally word by word and explains it. And then the detox pamphlet. But
Yeah.
what I love too at the end
Boy,
of the book,
that's a powerful book.
at the end of the book is that it is powerful. You have at least some recipes to get started with. And this is what we've done for the past few weeks now. By the time this broadcast airs, we'll have been 3 weeks doing this on a daily basis, and it's changing. And I can't even believe how fast. This is
Yes.
what really has blown my mind is within 24 hours, I started just feeling different.
Right, sure.
And by following this plan, so everybody, in my personal opinion, if you can, you need to get the complete Healthy Gut Zone Detox Starter Kit for $150, which includes shipping and handling, and you'll receive all of what you see on the screen, and use it, do it. You're going to see a difference.
Exactly. Give yourself 6 weeks. Give yourself
Give yourself
6
some
weeks.
time.
Come on.
Yeah.
Commit to yourself for 6 weeks and watch what happens.
JimBakkerShow.com is where you want to go right now, or you can pick up the phone. I remember this from Dr. Don years ago, and my brain started working. I'm telling you, even though you're young and you think you're fit, you still don't realize how bad you are in the inside. But you said years ago, Doc, that it's easier to start a new habit than to break an old habit. And I want to tell you something, to do it right now, you're helping the ministry, you're helping yourself. This is the best offer that we have put together for you. We have gathered the very, very best for you. And what you need to do right now is pick up that phone, 1-888-988-1588, or write down the website, JimBakkerShow.com. Do not wait 1 minute. Do it to help your health. This will be the great starter kit to get started right now.
Dr. Colbert talks about in part 1, the gut problems, and part 2, gut diseases. After, I never really understood a leaky gut.
Right.
I've heard it, but I really finally got it. By reading your book. And part 3, gut answers. And you give us the answers, which is, to me, so important that we have the answers.
Absolutely. And Lori, something so many people don't realize, so many people think that having a bowel movement once a week or only twice a week is normal. I go over the Bristol stool chart, and this is how normal bowel movement should look. Okay?
That's right.
Especially
and you
if
like
you
3, 4, and 5.
Type 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And again, this is so important because when you start this program, the most amazing thing happens. And so many people, especially over the age of 70, love to come in my office, and literally they have this big smile on their face, and they start talking about their bowel movements.
That's right.
And they say, we have had, and they sit around, so many people over 70 are telling me, they sit around and they are amazed at how their bowel movements are like a kid's again.
It's amazing.
And they tell me,
Don, that's important because as you get older, spaghetti stools are not normal.
No.
Toothpaste stools.
Toothpaste stools are not normal.
Why? What causes toothpaste stools?
Low fiber. Low fiber is the big problem with people. Low residue foods, too much sugars, carbs, and starches. Not enough of the right fiber, soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, prebiotics, probiotics. All of these are critical for your bowel movement.
And,
water,
and what
magnesium.
you think of, and you think of, and the intestines is like a pipe, and this pipe has got built up fecal around it, more and more and more mucus around it. So that's why it's getting
the stools get smaller and smaller. Spaghetti or toothpaste.
So
you
need to clean it out.
It's a life changer, everybody. Everybody,
I've got to tell a quick story.
Life changer.
Because what happened with Mary on the Gut Zone diet? One day she came out of the bathroom with her face white. She says, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "What happened?"
Oh, you're going to tell this.
She said, "I passed a snake." A black snake out of my colon. I said, "That's so good. Did you save it for me so I can see it?" No, I flushed it quickly. I said, "Well, this is what happens. We have encasements in the stool where the mucus layer, the bowel gets so toxic that literally you have a mucus lining that gets darker and darker, and eventually we're just hitting it with all the fiber, with all the probiotics. It loosens up and it breaks free, and then all of a sudden you pass it in the stool, and then all of a sudden the stools get better, larger, more comfortable. It's amazing how people say, "Wow, I don't even have to hardly use any toilet paper anymore."
That's right.
I say that's what's healthy for us. That's what our body needs. So again, a lot of people have these strange things happen, but it's their body healing.
This is real.
It freaked me out. I thought I had a tapeworm or something, and I thought that thing was going to bite me. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Save it for you to look at." I was like, "Holy moly!"
This is the only religious broadcast that has your bowel movement at times.
But you know what? It's so important, and that's where the fiber.
Too.
That's where health though lies.
Yes, in your
health lies right here. Your health lies right here.
Hippocrates said in 400 BC, almost 2,500 years ago, church, that health begins in the gut, that all disease begins in the gut. But all disease begins in the gut, but health also begins in the gut, which is so important.
Read the book. It's all in the book. This is the most complete book on the gut zone probably ever written. I don't know, but it's heal your digestive system to restore your body and renew your mind. This
powerful.
is what we need. And we already, just in a few weeks, Lori and I, we're just seeing such a difference.
It's amazing.
And
to me,
just-
it's like a
just
miracle.
the health. And I've been very sick.
Right.
And you're
I've
healing.
been sick for a year.
Right, I know.
And I had a stroke, and it left me crazy, kind of sick to my stomach.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out why my gut would. And now I'm dealing with my gut.
Amen.
Is that
And
a
your
good
gut,
thing?
As you heal your gut, the whole body heals, is what we find, or improves.
Yeah.
Again, the gut is the foundation of health. As you heal and improve the gut, the whole body generally improves and heals. So that's why that's the foundation. I tell my patients, the foundation of health is your gut. And I've had to figure this out years ago. I've been practicing medicine for 35 years. And I went through major gut issues, and I'll talk tomorrow about other gut issues I went through after I cleared psoriasis and autoimmune disease, cleared IBS, again, I developed a parasite skiing in a lake because I drank a lot of water, and I'll talk about that tomorrow.
And if I could, I would could just give people hope.
Yeah.
We're in a interesting time.
Yes, we are.
It's a new era is what we've entered into. And just like you heard Don's story about his psoriasis, and it set him on a path of finding answers to health. Had he not had that happen, he would not have been pushed into the research field that he is now and developed all the things that he has developed and trying to bring truth to you. Church, we're in that same kind of thing in our country right now. All things will work together for our good. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. God's working behind the scenes in ways we have no idea.
Right.
So just hold on and watch what God is going to do.
We want to thank Don and Mary for being with us today.
Yes.
Our time is
Thank you,
totally gone.
guys.
Be sure to call 1-888-988-1588 and order the product today. This is amazing. And this stuff, you just can't get it anywhere. And it is something that Dr. Don, honestly, I shouldn't tell on him, but he spent millions of dollars in his lifetime
Yes, he has.
studying, researching, traveling the world over to find answers to problems. And he brings it to you on our program. And he's going to be back with us. And Mary has a prayer ministry that we're going to talk about tomorrow. God loves you. He really does. Call me right now, please. Don't wait. Just do it right now. Bye-bye for today.
Bye-bye. We love you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Don and Mary.
Mary.